Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of Kings. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the
There was a young girl who was engaged to a man named Joseph. Joseph was the great-great-great-great-great-grandson of King David. One morning this girl was minding her own business when suddenly a great warrior of the light appeared right there in her bedroom. He was Gabriel, and he was an angel, a special messenger from heaven. When she saw the shining man standing there, Mary was frightened. "You don't need to be scared," Gabriel said. "God is very happy with you." Mary looked around to see if perhaps he was talking to someone else. "Mary," Gabriel said, and he laughed. With gladness that Mary's eyes filled with sudden tears. "Mary, you're going to have a baby, a little boy. You will call him Jesus. He is God's own son, and he is the rescuer. The God who flung planets into space and kept them whirling around and around. The God who made the universe with just a word, and the one who would do anything at all. He was making himself small baby and coming down to earth. Wait, God was coming as a baby to rescue the world? But it's too wonderful," Mary said, and she felt her heart beating hard. "How can it be true? Is anything too wonderful for God?" Gabriel said. So Mary trusted God, but her eyes could see, and she believed. "I am God's servant," she said. "Whatever God says, I will do."
Sure enough, it was just as the angel had said. 9 months later, Mary was almost ready to have her baby. Now Mary and Joseph had to take a trip to Bethlehem, the town King David was from. But when they reached the little town, they found every room was full. Every bed was taken. "Go away," the innkeepers told them. "There isn't a place for you." Where would they stay? Soon Mary's baby would come. They couldn't find anywhere except an old, tumble-down stable, so they stayed where the cows and the donkeys and the horses stayed. And there in the stable, amongst the chickens and the donkeys and the cows, in the quiet of the night, God gave the world his wonderful gift. The baby that would change the world was born, his baby son. Mary and Joseph wrapped him up to keep him warm. They made a soft bed of straw and used the animal's feeding trough as his cradle, and they gazed in wonder at God's great gift. Wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger, Mary and Joseph named him Jesus, Emmanuel, which means God has come to live with us, because of course he had.
Away in a manger, no crib for a bed. The little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. The stars and the sun shone down where he lay. The little Lord Jesus asleep on the hay.
That same night, and amongst the other stars, suddenly a bright new star appeared. Of all the stars in the dark, vaulted heavens, this one shone clearer. It blazed in the night and made the other stars look pale beside it. God put it there when his baby son was born, to be like a spotlight shining on him, lighting up the darkness, showing people the way to him. You see, God was like a new daddy. He couldn't keep the good news to himself. He's been waiting all these long years for this moment, and now he wanted to tell everyone. So he pulled out all of the stops. He sent an angel to tell Mary the good news. He'd put a special star in the sky to show where his boy was. And now he was going to send a big choir of angels to sing his happy song to the world. He's here, he's come, God and see him, my little boy. Now, where would you send your splendid choir? To a big concert hall, maybe? Or a big palace, perhaps? God sent his to a little hillside, outside a little town in the middle of the night. He sent all those angels to sing for a raggedy old bunch of shepherds watching their sheep outside Bethlehem. In those days, remember, people used to laugh at shepherds and say they were smelly and call them other names. You see, people thought shepherds were nobodies, just scruffy old riffraff. But God must have thought shepherds were very important indeed, because they're the ones he chose to tell the good news to first.
That night some shepherds were out in the open fields, warming themselves by a campfire, when suddenly the sheep darted. They were frightened by something. The olive trees resulted. What was that? A wing beat? They turned around. Standing in front of them was a huge warrior of light, blazing in the darkness. "Don't be afraid of me," the bright shining man said. "I haven't come to hurt you. I've come to bring you happy news for everyone everywhere. Today in David's town in Bethlehem, God's Son has been born. You can go and see him. He is sleeping in a manger." Behind the angel, they saw a strange glowing cloud, except it wasn't a cloud. It was angels, troops and troops of angels armed with light. And they were singing a beautiful song. "Glory to God be flame and honor and all our hoorays." Then, as quickly as they appeared, the angels left. The shepherds stamped out their fire, left their sheep, and raced down the grassy hill, through the gates of Bethlehem, down the narrow cobble streets, through a courtyard, down some steps, past an inn, round a corner, through a hedge, until at last they reached a tumble-down stable. They caught their breath. Then quietly they tiptoed inside. They knelt on the dirt floor. They had heard about this promised child, and now he was here. Heaven's Son, the maker of stars, a baby sleeping in his mother's arms.
This baby would be like that bright star shining in the sky that night, a light to light up the whole world, chasing away darkness, helping people to see. And the darker the night got, the brighter the star would shine. This baby king that God had promised David all those years before was a new kind of king. Though he was the Prince of Heaven, he had become poor. Though he was the mighty God, he had become a helpless baby. The king hadn't come to be a boss. He had come to be a servant. So now, with Christmas just days away, let us celebrate the coming of this king, the light of the world, the Prince of Peace, and the joy of our salvation. Wishing you all a Merry Christmas.